I want to say to the Baptist Ministers Conference of New York and Vicinity and all of its legacy members from the 1970s to the 1980s, when I was an integral part and an officer in that unique organization. I do appreciate greatly how you helped me, how I learned from you. When I walked into the Convent Avenue Baptist Church, I was less than a week out of prison. And I didn't know anything about the church, about its function, what a hymn was, what this, I had no idea. And yet I sat there in that conference among all you great men of God, as I now understand you to be. And I learned from you. I learned church, if you will, management. I learned preaching styles. I learned about the community, politics, Ed Koch and others that came through. I want to say that I had to leave you. I didn't leave your great institution, not only the Baptist Ministers Conference, but the National Baptist Convention of USA and Incorporated, and the Empire State Convention, and the United Missionary Baptist Association, of which I was an officer of all of those except the National Conference. I didn't leave you because I hated you. I left you because I had to grow. When I gained all I could from you, brothers, you ministers, you great men of God, when I gained as much as I could from you, I struck out on my own. And I'm here today. And perhaps some of you are yet alive. Most of the men that were there during the years that I first was initiated are long since gone. Maybe there's one or two that's left around that might hear this. I didn't leave you because I hated you. I had to be about my Father's business. You know, John the Baptizer had to leave his mother and his father to go out and live with the Essenes out in the desert, where he wore camel's belt and girdle and ate locusts and wild honey. I had to leave you. I don't hate you. You've heard about what I'm doing over here. I don't have fellowship with you. You get bits and pieces. Maybe some gossip and some true, some not so true. But I simply want to say that I honor you for allowing me to have the time. And more specifically, the great work that my pastor, Millard Stanley, did when he brought me to you. He was as happy as anything could ever. He finally had a son. His daughter had married a police officer, but that guy had no idea or intent of ever saying Jesus. And he had been a pastor for more than 20 years. And he'd just been prodding along pretty much, not having a lot of authority. And then God brought me to him. He was so happy that he had a son. I drove his car. I fed him his breakfast. I visited him in the hospital. And I could see it in his eyes, and I could feel it. And as we walked from City Hall to the various hotels, the newspapers, every place we went with Pastor Stanley, people admired him because he had this tall, thin young man carrying his jacket and carrying his bags. And everywhere Pastor Stanley went, I was just one step behind him. When Pastor Stanley stopped, I stopped. Pastor Stanley, and he just swaggered about. And the more he swaggered about, the more I stood behind him as a tall young man. And I was young at that time. I was just a boy at that time. And everybody just admired him. A lot of preachers tried to steal me away from him. Pastor Stanley, I love you. I love you. I love you, Pastor. I thank you. I thank you. You ordained me. You introduced me. You taught me. Thank you for giving me this pulpit. I pray that at some point in time, you can rejoice again and we can walk together. I do. But Pastor, the time is now. I had to get here. Where I'm at right now with ATLAH, with this, I had to get here. And I've come through many trials, many rivers, many mountains we've had to cross. I've had some difficult times, Pastor. You know I've had. But I've never complained because you told me early on that this is no easy job. But I love you, Pastor. And I love you, Baptist ministers. I love you, brethren. I do. Amen. Amen.